Dan publicly spoke about in the new NIL world for the first time, and he is definitely like, hey, we're in a really good spot. I think there's definitely a lot of panicking going on nationally because of just not knowing some of the things. But he goes, we're just 6 weeks into this new world.
Yeah.
And he feels like it's better. He feels like Nebraska is in a better position long-term because there is only so much money. Like schools that are spending all this money, like it can't go on like this forever. Like,
no, there's two conversations there. And I'm going to hit the second one you referred to. So what he's talking about is the house settlement is what you say 6 weeks old?
6 week, July 1st. Yep.
Okay. So that's one conversation. And he said he was adamant about this, that you can't just condemn it 6 weeks in, right? He said it's going to take everybody working to try to make it work and getting behind it and not judging it right out of the gate, because that won't work. But he said it's a really, I mean, again, he talked for 50 minutes, so forgive me if I'm not paraphrasing him completely accurately. He said it's just not the nature of people to give something time. They just want to redo it already. He said, just let it go. Let it work. Let it play itself out. He said he likes the settlement, the structure. Now, somebody, a cynic, might say, well, of course you like it. You got all the means, but he probably likes it for other reasons.
Yeah, like if you're Jamie Pollard right now or somebody,
right,
it's a little bit different conversation.
Or Stanford, which is making huge cuts in their athletic department.
Yeah, there's definitely schools that can afford this and ones that can't.
Right. So back then there's that part of the conversation where he he feels Nebraska is very fortunate, but by the same token, he also is emphasizing this new revenue streams that they have to come up with, being like a convention and visitors bureau. So there's certain realities to this that he would have never anticipated as a young AD. Now he's in this new strange world. The other thing that he said, Sean, and we talked about this off air, it might have been the most poignant thing he said. When you judge coaches now, what do you say? When you judge coaches,
the money.
He talked about return on investment. Okay. So one thing he's talking about is what? If you're paying a player $900,000 and that player washes out and doesn't work, that's a problem.
ROI,
right. That's the AD saying something that we've wondered about openly, but that's it now.
Well, and we saw this offseason more than ever before. Nebraska delved into a higher level of NIL spending in the portal. Dane Key, Isaiah Hunter, Rocco, Pritchett, Dasan McCullough, Marquise Watson, Trent. I mean, those were premium shelf guys.
So now, if four of them just aren't any good, and
or they're no better than what you have.
Yeah. So here's my question.
Winery would be in that camp too.
Winery too. So my question to you: who is the AD going to? Is he going to the head coach, or is he going to the general manager, or who is he putting more weight on? Are you putting more weight on the GM on that in that situation?
Well, in this situation, Pat Stewart wasn't around yet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, good point.
You had Sean Patton, and I'd love to know what the thoughts were on how they spent on that group.
Mm-hmm.
But
Troy, but to emphasize, so our listeners understand, this is a lot of information coming at him. The AD is saying part of his evaluation of head coaches going forward will be return on investment, and that includes how did your investment in these players go?
And Fred is a guy that has to almost evaluate better than everybody and buy maybe a lower price and hope that you get a better player.
Except I think the AD will be more forgiving of Fred
if it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out.
Last year, their plan didn't work out really well.
I mean, he won the crown.
Well, to make the NCAA tournament.
Right.
I mean, when Butenbach got hurt and then, Rink Mass is out, that was out of your control. But, who's the big guy? The two big guys they added. I mean, they just didn't have the same oomph that they had the year before.
Right.
So like they had to beat like teams like Michigan and whatnot. They didn't have
right. Oh, I understand now. That's the question in my mind: is Fred expected to compete with these high-end rev share teams, high-end money, high-end roster paying teams? You see what I'm saying? The Purdue's, the Indianas, the Michigan States, the Michigans. Should Fred be expected to field a team on that level when he's at another level, much lower level financially? That's what my question was to Dannen, and his basic answer was, I'm looking at return on investment.
How is it though any different than what it was before NIL? Like Kansas and Indiana and North Carolina and Duke, they're still getting the same players.
It's just more evident
but
now.
They were paying those guys back then in different ways,
where the FBI had to get involved and wiretap coaches. But yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Like those schools are not getting better players than they were getting before. They're getting the same players they were getting before. Now they have to pay more money.
Not all the cases, Sean. Kansas is not getting them. They're not getting the guys. Kansas wasn't very good last year.
Aren't they going to be preseason like really high?
They were preseason number 1 last year,
and they came nowhere near.
No, I think they're preseason number 1. If they weren't, they're top 5. But
they lost that Creighton when they're number 1.
Right. It's a bit different conversation now. So what I think a reasonable AD does, go back to return on investment. Obviously Troy Dannen knows what Fred has in terms of resources, right? He knows what he can pay the guys. So the way I would size up Fred is not necessarily in comparison to Michigan State and Michigan and Indiana and Purdue, etc. I just say, did he get everything he could out of what he has? That's what you're trying to do. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm looking at.
It's the only other hard part is you don't know what other people are paying. And
that's what he addressed that.
And Dannen said, and you know, I heard this a long time ago from Jared Lamprick, who started the original ABM collective. He's like, you get, when people share numbers with you, it's like asking a gambler how they did at the casino. They always paint or show a more optimistic view or higher number than what it really is.
So Dannen said,
and that's what NIL is. Like,
right.
Some of the things you hear out there are just not true.
Right.
And you have to separate fact from fiction. But then there are some that are true that I think people are blown away by when they realize, God, it's going to cost, I'm just going to throw out a random number, like $500,000 to get Shamar Brown, or you know, just like,
or more,
$600,000 to keep Dante Dowdell. Or
those aren't completely random numbers. But yeah, I get you.
I mean, just something in that range.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, but yeah, then you have situations like Grant Segrin coming in and wanting a little bit of money. They weren't able to do it for him.
How about that element though? I know I'm harping on it, but Sean, think you've been covering college sports for a long time, 25 years. Now we're talking about ADs evaluating coaches based on what the price tag is for players, and did that player give you the return on investment?
And how many ADs around the country are equipped and qualified to do that?
That's a good question too. Yeah.
With everything else they have to do for their day-to-day job, do you think they have time to like study the ROI on 80 athletes?
I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah. You might need some help there.
Yeah. It's there's a lot there to kind of dissect, but
that's why this appearance by Dannen was incredibly valuable, because we just gave you about 1/5 of his thoughts on stuff. There's a lot. So I would encourage people to go to Husker Online and watch that video.